Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic, Non-Classic. This is episode number 2840. No, it's 54, and Doubleshot 2448. Now, before I talk about the trade talking, one thing I forgot to talk about for this trade here, from the last video I did, the artist had this thing in this book where, like, he made the women's breasts in this book very definitive that they were obviously breast. Like, yeah. It's like anytime we showed it, we have to show the fact that these women got breast. Yes. The artists in this book, they like doing it. It seems like it's a fetish of theirs where we have to, like, show the fact that Huntress has got a breast, Black Canary, not much Lady Blackhawk, but it's mostly just those two. We have to define the fact these two got breasts. And they're a little bit bigger than usual. Yes, I'm not sure why they made them bigger than usual, but that's basically... I forgot to mention when it comes to this, but there you go. Oh, don't worry, there'll be more words probably coming. Don't worry. So, first we're going to discuss here is the final trade for Nightwing by Marv Wolfman. This is The Lost Year, which is also the final trade discussed for Nightwing Volume 2. Because everything that came after this one, which was... what came next after this one, which I'll explain the story in a minute. What came next was two major things. One was 2 issues that were part of the Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul crossover. And then the other thing was the Period of Tomasi run, which I discussed already. So with this, I'll be done. So, The Lost Year, written by Marv Wolfman. Artwork by Jamie Engel and Jamal Engel and John Busky. Those main issues. That's issues 133, 137. The annual is done by Marco Andrego. It's called Hero's Journey. This annual here is a bit controversial, though it is noteworthy for being the first annual for Nightwing in 10 years. And after this, Nightwing not having their annual again until Volume 3 came out for New 52. Yeah, he had a single annual published for that one, and then he had Grayson. He had 3 annuals published for that one. The third one basically felt like was a bonus. It was published after the final issue came out, and then the current volume for Nightwing, this has published several annuals. Yes, I think it's published more annuals than Volume 2 ever did. Like, the first volume, no, it didn't have it because it was a miniseries. Like, the second annual here, that was published in 2007. The next thing that came out until 6 years later for the Volume 3 book. Grayson had 3 annuals. Yeah, he had like 3 annuals published. Mm-hmm. And let's see. Yeah, his annuals basically even had 2 in 1 year. Like, is the first ever Grayson was released just a couple years after the annual release for right after Nightwing had his the previous one for Nightwing had an annual. And number 2 was just released just, let's see, September. And the first annual was released in... actually was released in December. So, yeah, it was actually just later that very year. Like, that was in December of 2014. That was, like, roughly a year after this annual was published. So, it's like an annual published every year for Nightwing, even 2016. The current volume for Nightwing, this has published a total of, get this, 6 annuals. You think, wait, 6? Yeah, 6 annuals. Yep, 6. And, like, starting in 2018, up until just this year, he published another annual, which, that was the first annual published in 2 years. Yeah, they had an annual published just this year, which was the 6th annual for this volume. The previous annual, the one that came out just a couple years ago, that was published on November 29, 2022. In the case of the most recent one, was actually just this past April. So almost 2 years. So, Yeah, after the third annual for Grayson came out, next annual will come out for 2 years, and then been publishing mostly nonstop every year. It's only missed 1 year, 2023. So overall, Dick Grayson has had 11 annuals. You're like, really? 11 annuals? You're like, wow, 11 annuals. Which you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of annuals. I mean, it's not as much as like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, but it's still a good amount of annuals. Yep. Yeah, and the thing with this annual is that it's a bit controversial. This one. It's not because it's Mark Drago, because there's an element in the story that got. I didn't know about this till recently. That got the writer, got Mark Drago some flack, but I would say it's not as bad as the flack he got for Batwoman. Oh no! So we start out basically a year prior to the crisis, during the crisis, where Dick proposes to Barbara, and then we go straight to the crisis where you have Batman and Nightwing find Alexander Luthor and Slade. Also, for some reason, Batman's doing this. You're like, what the heck? Stay down, it's over, Deathstroke. I'm like, really? Yeah, then of course, then Dick gets wounded and saved by Dr. Midnight. And we see some like zombies come out. Looks like a zombie of like Blockbuster, Batman, and Deathstroke. Oh, only Blockbuster's dead. The other people are not dead at all. So then he wakes up, and the whole thing is, this whole annual is kind of a bit of a partial explanation of, like, they kind of got the romance between Barbara and Dick, and what they're basically like over the years. The president stuff for the main story, it's kind of basically what happened right after the crisis, or at the end of the crisis, and prior to the present day, like, a flashback with Dick and Barbara, Batgirl, and Robin, and fighting Polka Dot Man. Actually, that's crazy cool. Where they kind of like gradually fall in love, and, well, they continue the romance for a bit. Everything seems like going fine with the romance. And about confession. And then all of a sudden we have Barbara show up at Dick Grayson's apartment, and Starfire is answering the door in her underwear. Yes. Yeah, and apparently she knew, like, she doesn't know, like she doesn't know who Barbara is, but apparently it's like, it was confusing. Like, she's crying because Barbara kind of felt as though that Dick was cheating on her. Dick had no idea that she paid him a visit. And this whole thing with them, with him basically falling with Starfire. Yep, and then of course we have a flashback when she got shot for killing Joke. Of course, get well soon. And then, like, you have... And then basically, this is flashback here is probably set about 6 months after events of Killing Joke, where Dick visits Barbara, and then she hugs him, kisses him, they have sex, and apparently that the reason why he came there was to invite her to his wedding, to Corey, and tell him to get out. Yeah, I didn't know this. Apparently, Mark Andrew got some flack for this scene. Yes, this very scene where Dick gives her a letter to invite her to engagement announcement. And then, of course, you have Dick training his butt off to get back into shape. And, of course, it goes on the boat, which is basically kind of explained during the crisis. So, you kind of say the president was just after the crisis, but just prior to the time skip. And then we come straight to the 321 days. Now, this story arc here is noteworthy for debuting a brand new character. Who is that? Well, you're about to find out and see. Oh, what's up? Dick take on some guys in hoods, and he's being shot at by this mysterious assassin. We have Dick training with some, not a redhead, basically someone who's like, the whole thing is like, oh yeah, this was my Blockbuster cards on. That was funny. Yep. So yeah, we meet basically the assassin who's shooting these people up. and I think it's some of his past. Yeah, there's a mysterious redhead from his past. Like, who is his redhead? It's not Barbara. So you're probably thinking, who the heck is this woman? Is it Clancy? No. Yeah, they do bring in Ryan Diaz. That was the masseuse from the previous work. Yeah, she's back here for a couple issues, and then she's gone from the book, and she's never seen again. Oh, it's her name is Lou. Yeah, yeah, and this woman here is only around for this story here, and then she popped up in their book, which I'll talk about that book in just a minute. So, and of course, like she's one from his past, and then we debut a brand new character here, the Vigilante. This is Dorian Chase. Who is Dorian Chase? He is the younger brother of Adrian Chase, the original Vigilante. Well, this version of Vigilante, not the Gunslinger Vigilante, the Masked Vigilante. You know, full body suit. Yeah. And at one point when Dick sees him in this book, he's like, wait, that's not Adrian. Adrian's dead. He committed suicide. That's true. He did. And I'm glad Wolfman addressed that, because it'd be kind of dumb for Wolfman to recognize something that, even though yeah, see, he was killed by Paul Kupperberg. That's the guy who killed off Adrian Chase in the final issue of his book, issue 50. I'll go more over it originally later, but no one knew that Adrian had a brother. No one knew about that, but it made total sense for Wolfman to create this character, because he created the first, he created his brother, so why not create him? And indirectly, this story arc served as sort of a loose backdoor pilot to the Vigilante ongoing series that came out long after this. So he kind of works with him, and of course he's on a date with Lou, and then he gets interrogated by him. He doesn't obviously ask, like, who the heck are you, dude? Because you're not Adrian. And he's like, oh, I'm not Adrian. Yeah, oh, by the way, Lou, the redhead appears in this book. Yeah, this woman was the woman who Dick Grayson lost his virginity to. Yep, that's what Wolfman is saying. Wasn't Barbara. Nope, that was the first woman he slept with. It was this other redhead named Lou. Yep. Yeah. But I do gotta admit, I do enjoy this stuff here. I do like the references to Teen Titans. I would say it's a little bit better here than it was in the previous story arc. But the book just ends abruptly with Dick never finding out about it. But the reason why this was cut off at the time, because of Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. That's why Running got cut off. But I do enjoy this story arc. I think the story is a little bit better than the first story arc that Marvel Wolfman did for this book. And just really good. I give this book a give it roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Really fun book. Final thoughts on this run, this run, Marvel Wolfman's run, and Volume 2, because I'm done with Volume 2. Marvel Wolfman's run. It had a slow start, but this arc was really, really, I enjoyed the last year's, the whole 321 days. I really enjoyed that. I do kind of agree with the criticism that the thing was cut because of the crossover Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. So in a way, Wolfman was only here for barely a year. Excuse me, he left for issue like 137. That's when he left the book. And that was his last issue, because, in case you're curious though, who wrote the next two issues? Like, who wrote? Because it wasn't Wolfman. Oh no, it was not Wolfman. It was Fabian Nicieza. They brought him in for issue 138 and 139 to basically do the whole Resurrection Rise like Gold story arc, which was mostly a Grant Morrison storyline that had evolved on Bat books. And then beginning with 140, it's the Tomasi arc. Yep, the Tomasi stuff, which was really, really good. I enjoyed Tomasi's run in the book. I thought it was excellent. Yeah, and Dorian Chase himself will come back to this book, obviously. For Tomasi stuff. Yeah, he'd come back. Uh, well, he only appears in one story, and then he appears in Gotham Underground, his own solo book, and the Death Trap crossover issue of Batman Outsiders. And that was it for him. Surprisingly, this character's not been brought back in the current continuity. Don't know the reason for it, and I find it kind of weird that DC has never returned the whole vigilante stuff. Yeah, either he's just not on the radar, or they just don't care. Is there vigilante existing in the post-Flashpoint continuity? There kind of is. His name is Daniel Fairchild. Yeah, I read the miniseries. It was not that good. It was some of a boring miniseries that got cut off after issue 3 because of low sales. Yeah. You see, it was supposed to be a 6-issue miniseries, but it got cut off at issue number 3 due to low sales. Yeah, the sales were not that good for this miniseries. And I'll discuss this at some point, but this miniseries was not that good. Like, book was a snooze fest. Oh my gosh, it was a snooze fest. Oh, in case you're curious of the Greg Sanders vigilante, the one that was a gunslinger, yeah, he does appear in the current continuity. He first appeared in pages of Shade. And mostly, but his appearance has been very sporadic. Like, aside appearing in the Shade, the Spring Break special, Stargirl, Lost Children miniseries, Suicide Squad, Death Metal, very sporadic. So if you think about it, Dorian yeah, the whole thing with the vigilantes, there was a lot. Like, Adrian was obviously the original, most noteworthy one. The second was Alan Wells, who was in the Vigilante book. The third one was Dave Winston. Yeah, I say he's the third one. The fourth one was Pat Trace, and we have who basically Wolfman created this version too, and yeah, and she basically was mostly in just other stuff. Mm-hmm. I'll talk about her later, but in the case of Post Crisis, there's basically just Pat, obviously, who was the she was like the fifth. I'd say sixth. Adeline. I'd say seventh. Probably Justin Prowl, who would basically had his own miniseries Vigilante, which I'll discuss in the future. And then you have Dorian Chase, who is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is the seventh Vigilante. And at the time of the post-crisis reboot, he was the most recent one. Yep, that's indeed true. But yeah, of course, Nightwing, of course, well, His book got canceled due to not low sales because Battle for the Cowl, he became Batman for the next couple of years. Eventually, he will return to be Nightwing. And Danny DeVito has regretted basically put him in a red suit. Oh, there's a story here about I should mention here before I talk about the next book here. It's about issue 1,000,000. You see, according to Chuck Dixon on his podcast, he planned to have this Huntress story arc he has in the book was going to take up 25 to 28. But DC 1,000,000 was getting in the way. So it's kind of a good thing that Chuck Dixon basically worked ahead. So, because it was going to come between 25 and 26. So 25, which I've heard is a very popular issue. Very popular issue. It's a standalone issue. And that 1,000,000. Then they began his story with the Huntress, which is only going to be 4 issues. Began with issue 26. Like, basically, this is supposed to start in 25. But because of 1,000,000, they had to delay a little bit. He didn't want to basically interrupt this story arc, per se. He just wanted to make sure the story progresses as far as possible. Look, he worked plenty ahead, so he can basically make a slight update here and there. But that's kind of basically what happened there. And the only reason why he left was because he got offered to work cross-gen. Yeah. But I had to bring that up there. And plus, he's talked about also on the podcast, like how he got the job. He told it to me too. Basically, what he told me and we mentioned on this podcast, originally he was not going to be the writer of this book. It was supposed to be Denny O'Neil and Alan Grant. But apparently something there was a slip up per se, and like they left the book, so he was just appointed as a writer, and Scott McDaniel did the artwork. And he's like, okay. And he basically put out quite possibly one of the most popular runs in comics when it comes to basically his run on Nightwing. His run on Nightwing, from what I heard, is very popular. People love his run. I love the run too. I wasn't reading at the time. I didn't start reading DC Comics on a regular basis until October 2010. This book wasn't even published by that point. First Nightwing number one I saw, basically, while I was reading, was basically New 52. But yeah. But overall, Volume 2, I would say, like, it's up and down. I would say Chuck Dixon was really good. I really enjoyed Chuck Dixon's run. Devin Grayson, I'd say first half is really good, but it kind of went downhill after the rape scene. Year 1 is amazing. And then for Devin Grayson's return to the book, it just felt like just shoot out book just to do whatever. Blood Brothers was just pure bad. Mark Wolfman's had a slow start, but great second story arc. The Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul was something else. I did enjoy the crossover, but I thought it was kind of weird they interrupted a story arc to do that one. Like, you would have thought, though, like, you would have given Wolfman a little bit of time to wrap his storyline, because what I just read, it had no conclusion. This story was abruptly cut off after 5 issues. It was supposed to be 7 parts, not 5. So, to this day, the storyline has never had a proper conclusion. I'm sure Wolfman was not happy with that at all. And, of course, Tomasi and Man's new run of the book. But I would say, here are your best writers of the book. I would say Chuck Dixon, obviously. His run is amazing. His run is for 70 issues, and issues 101 to 106 is year 1. Marv Wolfman had a pretty decent run, and Tomasi had a pretty decent run. These two writers had really good runs in the book. Grayson's, I'd say most of it up until issue 93. I would say from 71 to 92, really good issues. But after that, it just went downhill. Like, by far the worst run is Bruce Jones. He had the worst story arc of the whole book. And Tomasi, of course, had a really good run too. His run basically brought the book back up the way it was when Chuck Dixon wrote, which I love that run. I even want to trade. Alright. Next book discussed here is Supergirl by Peter David, Book 4, which collects Supergirl Volume 4, issues 32 to 43, and Young Justice number 12 and 13. Yep. Yeah, so basically, we have Leonard Kirk, Sean Phillips, Todd Nellick, and Jason Ofas on the artwork. Sean Phillips, who does artwork this very day, does the White Knight books. So we just have Supergirl just doing her stuff, fighting off against criminals. Being a hero in small, I think it's Smallville. I think it is. Yeah, I think it's Smallville she's based in. So, yeah, she's being a hero in Smallville, and then like it's like Supergirl doing her own thing here, and of course hiding the fact she is Supergirl. Yeah, yeah, Linda's trying to hide the fact she is Supergirl. So there's that, and then 33 she takes on the Parasite, which of course is a wonderful picture of Mona Lisa. Yeah, I gotta mention that. Yeah, that's the whole thing with issue 30, 34. It's her versus the Parasite. And then we have a guest appearance by Young Justice, which leads into the Young Justice story. No, actually, not yet. It's, yeah, we continue on with this issue where they take on Parasite in Paris, of all places. Yes, Paris. Which he's, like, really, really big. He's bigger than usual. Rudy must be not on a good diet. Yeah, and then we finally have the Young Justice stuff called Hell's Angels, which just the two issues, and of course it mostly all stuff with Red Tornado, where he's like being considered a fugitive, and his wife is named the guardian of his their daughter's guardian, and she can basically she can stay with him all she wants. Yes. So we have regular stuff with Young Justice, which Peter David was writing at the time, so of course you have a crossover with that. I really enjoy the stuff here with Young Justice, which the membership in this book is just Robin, which is Tim Drake, Connor Kent Superboy, Bard Out Impulse, Artemis. This is, of course, second Artemis. Yeah, who became Artemis. She was forced into taking a role. There's also Secret, who is the original character in this book, and Wonder Girl, Cass Sammark, who wore glasses. Yeah, of course, Red Tornado was hauled off the jail. Yeah. There's some Clay stuff here. Also, Zarel is in these issues. Yes, Zarel from the pages of... Now, yeah, just the whole thing with these two issues, it's a two-part guest appearance. And Red Tornado gets called up with Old Justice, where apparently there was this woman who considers herself basically like a child of Red Tornado. Apparently her mother was the original Red Tornado. That's Ma Hinkle. Yeah, so maybe she's a relative of Cyclone, and it's probably cool called Old Justice, which, interesting choice. They don't free him per se, but yeah. Then we continue over in the pages of so it's like it's definitely a crossover between Supergirl and Young Justice, but really good stuff here. And mention the whole thing about JLA Young Justice, Young JLA Titans. I'll discuss in the future. I definitely do. And then, of course, they run into the frickin' Spectre. Yes, the Spectre. Who was doing his wild, crazy phase, which is killing people. And it's already 39. We have this girl who's beaten up. I think it's not Linda, it's somebody else. Who's beaten wearing a t-shirt of herself. So yeah, then she is bathed in water. Yeah. Yeah, this actually looks like Zarel going to human form. That's kind of what this is with her. Some bit of supernatural stuff here. Not much, but I do enjoy this book for what it is. There's even flashbacks to Supergirl of the past, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, at one point we have this, a friend of Supergirl's and I think it's like, I think it's Linda's roommate, who's like just come out of the shower, and she's like Maddie's here, apparently the guy she likes, like, oh crap, and of course she's like showing off her breasts like in front of him. And she's got like a mark. She's like she's basically a doctor. She got a mark on her forehead. And she slips in her room to put some clothes on. Yeah. Yeah. Then of course Supergirl stops some gunmen. Put your hands up. Are you like this? Whoosh. Use the fingers to, like, have the heat vision go everywhere. A fire. Yeah, and then of course, apparently, like an old friend of like Linda's just takes over the body. A friend of hers named Richard. But good stuff here. I love this book. Give this book a 9 out of 10. And with that, sadly put, when it comes to Supergirl by Peter David for the trades, that's the last one because DC has not released another one since then. I don't know why. It's weird. You would think. Though, yes, the main happenings basically, that's because of the final archives. But this, they stop at the 4 books. Was it low sales? I'm not sure. Maybe they ran out of ideas because they were promoting the Supergirl TV show. I'm not sure what the reason was. But I have talked to Peter Dave prior to his health stuff. I did ask him, what do you think about the Supergirl on TV? Oh, he loves it. He loved the Supergirl on TV. He loved that. And the whole Danvers stuff was really good here. Yep. So yeah, this particular view, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do another like button. Alright, got another Comic Corners to do, and it's on to Ultra 7. Okay? Thanks for you. Bye.